Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Mav. Thanks for tuning in. Fun topic today. Backwards compatibility. Is it important to you? I had a poll going on Twitter for about a day. It's about to wrap up. People have been leaving a lot of interesting comments. I want to go through some of those comments and kind of give you my thoughts on those, and with my thoughts on backwards compatibility at the end of the video also. I want to know what your thoughts are. Is it important to you? Should it be important to the gaming industry? So let's talk about that. Some of the comments got a little fanboyish, but for the most part, it's pretty tame. But we'll get right to those right after this. Check it out. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in again. Mav here. If you could please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, I appreciate any and all support. Also check out my podcast, Xbox Ultimate Podcast. That usually records on Fridays and it hits Spotify, it hits iTunes, other podcasting platforms as well as you can find the video of the podcast recording on YouTube. So please check that out. Let's get to the point here, guys. Okay, so I had this poll going on Twitter because of the news that broke yesterday, and it kind of started creating a lot of discussion. So I started thinking about it, and actually, as of right now, the poll has closed, and it received 6,425 votes. The poll was, is backwards compatibility important? And I hashtagged this Xbox, PlayStation, Next Gen, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Personally, I only have a little over 100 followers right now because I just started my accounts for all of this stuff about a month ago. Now, most of my followers are Xbox guys, and Xbox has generally had a more talk about backwards compatibility and more focus on it. So I wouldn't be surprised that more of the Xbox fans voted yes on that, and it might have reached more Xbox fans just because the people I follow and the people that follow me are more Xbox centric. However, I did see a lot of talk from PlayStation fans, and there's a lot more votes than there are talk. So I don't know what the percentages are on who voted what their primary platforms are. Most people probably play on multiple platforms like I do. The results of this poll were 85% yes, it's important, and 15% no. But there's good points made on both sides, and there was also variance in the middle, and I want to kind of go through some of those comments and talk about some of those things, and we'll get right into that right now. So first, is backwards compatibility important? So this guy said yes, but only for those that like to be able to play games they have owned from several generations. So he's saying is yes, and it's more for the people that care about it, because it's not for everybody. So if you want to play those older games, then it should be important to those people. Other than that, no, it's not important. Let's see. This guy said, sure is. I still buy physical Xbox and Xbox 360 games to play on my Xbox One. Now, he's probably in the minority here. I know that a lot of people do that, but not a lot of people are looking to just purchase those games, right? So, the ability to be able to play them in perpetuity on new hardware, often with visual upgrades, is a great benefit to him. Imagine if Steam stopped your older games working every. Oh, I'm sorry. I got mixed on my comments. I just started splitting to a different one. Okay, let me fix that. Sure is. I still buy physical Xbox and 360 games to play on my Xbox One. Just picked up Fight Night Champion, Fable 1, 2, and 3. Sony needs to rethink their decision and implement a way to play older PlayStation titles. So many great games which shouldn't be forgotten. I like that comment because, he says that, he does do it currently and he does utilize it, and he wishes that he could do those things with PlayStation, but currently cannot do so. So that was an interesting thought there. This guy says absolutely with over 600 games in my digital library. He makes a point to say digital library, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I want them to come with me. I agree with that. Let's see. This person made a good comment. It said, no, but yes. First priority is new games. Utilizing full new console capabilities. Achieve that first, then we can riot about Sony not giving PS5 backward compatibility with PS3, 2, and 1. So that is a very good, well thought out comment, in my opinion, because they're saying, no, it's not important, but yes, it is. But the first priority needs to be on the future, not the past. And I agree with that. You know, you shouldn't make backwards compatibility the primary purpose of the device. The primary purpose of the device should be able to play the newest, the latest, the greatest, right? So you want to be able to keep moving that forward and keep having great new experiences. But, you know, as long as they're doing that, then yes, backwards compatibility is still important to them. Let's see. This person said yes, especially since both launch lineups look light. So this person wants to play games because there's not a whole lot of new next gen experiences coming yet. So it's kind of like the exactly what I was saying, but you know, we do know that both console manufacturers are heavily invested into these next gen experiences and these next gen only games, and they may only be a couple years away, you know. So but what he's saying is, you know, I want to be able to keep playing the stuff that I have backlogged. And the truth is, on that, we're PlayStation 4 and Xbox Series X, or PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X is not really going to have that problem. From what we understand, and what I understand, is that both of them are going to be heavily compatible for this current generation. So, and that's again going to go into this digital talk that I'll talk about in a little bit. This guy says, as long as it's backwards compatible with PS4, I have no problem. I don't want to play PS1, PS2, and 3 games. Doesn't make any sense. I can do that on my PC if I want to. I don't get how you can play PS1, PS2, and 3 games on your PC. I guess maybe he's talking about emulators. I'm not sure on that one. So, let's see. It's not important in the long run for me, but while building my library to the new games, yes. First year or two, it's important. Once year 4 or 5 hits, not so much. So it's another person saying, you know, like to fill in the gap, right? Personally, that's not why I think it's important, but I will get into that in a minute. And you know, honestly, I'll go into this. Most of the comments that I've seen on this are all about what games are playable on PlayStation and Xbox, going back and forth on that, some fanboy stuff. And you know, it's interesting because that's really not what this is about at all, the argument to be made for or against it, because that's just a specific time period problem. It's not like a long-term thing. That's like, you know, Halo was delayed, you know, we have some, you know, decent size games coming launch that are exclusive for PlayStation 5, but there's not, you know, like, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 isn't coming at launch, right? So it's like interesting to kind of go and see how some of these people are talking about, yeah, we need it for because of that reason. Well, you know, they're, as far as we know, again, they're compatible to current gen, right? I mean, we both said that. So this person says people that don't care about this are not real gamers. They are current fad gamers that only play Fortnite and Call of Duty. I disagree with that. Just, you know, you can not care about backwards compatibility and also play all the hot new games. You know what I mean? So you could just only care about new games. All right, let's see here. Yes, and thankfully, will PS5 will play every PS4 game. So this person is a PlayStation guy, obviously, and he's saying, yeah, PlayStation will play PS4. This person says, I think it should be a pretty basic feature by now. So this kind of goes into like past talk where this has been actually a problem in the past where you're moving on to from one console to the next and you have all of these games that you've accumulated, if you did accumulate them. Some people just kept trading them in like me. But and then you move over to the nether platform and it's like you don't want to play the old platform. What do you do with it? You know, you don't, it's an old experience, but you still like playing some of those games. So, but at the same time, at those consoles were all kind of physical media based, right? They're all disc based back then, when that was really a problem. So, my personal take, and I'll just go into this, okay? Digital is the primary reason why backwards compatibility is important. And that should go back as far, at least, as the digital purchases started. So when PS3 and 360, when they started releasing these games that you couldn't buy on disc, and or the games that had the option you could buy on disc or buy digital, those games that were available to be purchased only digitally should be made 100% compatible for all future platforms by that manufacturer. So unless there's licensing issues or something like that where they can't, if you have a music purchase, or if you have a digital movie that you purchase from like Amazon Prime or wherever, right, that is attached to your account and you can't really do anything with it, you know? So it doesn't have any value other than the fact that you have the ability to play it. If you lose the ability to play it, then you have no value there anymore. Unlike physical media where you have disc, like PS1, PS2, PS3 discs, 360 disc, original Xbox disc, you know, or cartridges or whatever, those still hold value, that you can sell, you can trade, you can sell to a collector. You can sell it to somebody that is looking to play that game, you know, that's hard to find, you know, so those still hold value. Digital doesn't in that same way. And if you lose the ability to play it on future devices where technology is going to keep improving and keep improving, you can't just think about today. You got to think about 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What happens to these thousands of dollars you've been spending on games if a device comes out and you can't play what you've been spending all your money on? So it's important. It's very important for current and the past where digital has been involved and going forward. Now, the other reason I think it's important, and this goes into a little bit more of a retro nostalgia thing, is game preservation. These older devices are going to get continuously more hard to find because there's only a certain amount of them. As they get more hard to find, technology is also going to keep improving, and it's going to be harder to get those devices to play on current TVs or monitors. It's also, you're going to need more adapters. It's also going to be harder to find the games. More of the games are going to be ruined. More of the consoles that are out there are going to stop functioning. So it is going to be a harder thing to achieve that retro gaming thing. And nobody wants to have 10 old consoles hooked up to a TV so where they can easily just play things. Now, if you got that set up, props to you. I heavily respect you. That's awesome. I won't say nobody because I know there's a handful of you guys actually out there because I've seen videos and I think it's amazing. The average person, the majority of people are not going to be doing that and don't have the know-how or don't have the money to do it or won't be able to put forth the effort to do it. However, if you have a digital storefront that you can keep bringing these titles into that are eligible to be brought, and potentially you have software and hardware based capabilities of improving those games if by choice, I think you should have an option of original mode or, you know, an enhanced mode, right? So for example, the Series X is bringing HDR to a lot of games that didn't have it before. The game was never developed for them. but automatically the hardware is going to be able to implement HDR onto those games. Now, let's say, Nintendo fully implements backwards compatibility in all their devices, and you have access to all the old Nintendo games. That would be pretty amazing, right? And you would be able to experience those, on new technology. Also, it would be nice if they kept the ability to play it in its original form without the enhancements and improvements. So game preservation is important because it's going to be harder to find and get to play these old games. And I would like for anybody that has ever wanted to go and play an old game to be able to do that. So let's say you just said, hey, I want to play the first God of War game, right? Or you want to play the first NBA 2K game, or whatever it is. To be able to have the ability to go and do that would be a good thing, right? So not everybody, that's not for everybody. Some people don't give a crap, and that's fine. You don't have to give a crap about that. That's only for the people that do, but it is a lot of people that do care about it. And also, you would be potentially losing history if you don't preserve these things, and digital is one way of doing that. Now, a lot of these things are available on PC with emulators and stuff like that. A lot of them aren't, so the ability to purchase games, these old games, is I think should be an important thing in the industry as a whole, but it doesn't mean it's not necessarily important for everybody. So that's my personal opinion on it. Then the other thing, obviously, was the value of maintaining the value of what you're spending your money on, and that should go with anything, even beyond games. Especially if it's digital media, you need to retain the ability to play that content on future devices. I shouldn't have to keep an Xbox One 10 years from now to play the 400 something games that I have purchased digitally, right? So I want that in the future. So let's see here, guys. I think for the most part that the comments were tame. I did see a little bit of fanboy stuff going back, and most of it was just about, like I said, like if these games platform doesn't have games at launch, or these doesn't have any AAA games and all this stuff. And ultimately, that that stuff doesn't really matter with this topic. It's more of an industry thing, and also we're gonna have a lot of stuff to play. First party and third party for a long time and at launch, and I'm excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. My next video, I'm going to be speculating on the price, because we got some NVIDIA stuff announced today with pricing on some of their cards that they're coming out with. So I want to talk about the pricing on the Series X, pricing on the PS5 all digital, the Series S, and see how these announcements today might actually affect the prices of the consoles. So that'll be my next video. And until then, I appreciate it, guys. Please, again, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.